Yeah, when I made the decision to bring Earl Morrall with us, Earl became available on waivers by the Colts. They decided that Unitas was now healthy and they didn't need Earl, and that Earl was making a lot of money for a backup quarterback. So I wanted to bring him down, and I said to Joe Robbie, our owner, I'd like to bring Earl down here, and he said, "That old guy?" I said, "Yeah, that old guy is pretty good. He really bailed me out in Baltimore when Unitas got hurt. If something happens to Greasy, then we want somebody that can go in there that I've got confidence in." He said, "What's he making?" I said, "He's making $90,000. And Robbie said, $90,000 for a backup quarterback? Are you out of your mind? And I kept insisting that we do it. And finally he said, "Okay, if you want to do it, somehow, some way, I'll come up with the money." I don't know how he came up with the money, but somehow he did. When we first picked up Earl and brought him down, he's not the greatest practice player. He would throw some of the worst passes in practice. Then he'd want to repeat the play. And I'd say, "Earl, we don't have time to repeat that. We got to move on, in our practices."
Mid-season, Earl. Okay, babe.
And then in the ball games, the preseason, he did some things that weren't very impressive and had people scratching their heads. But I kept relying back on my memory of what he did for me, when Unitas got hurt and he went in and helped us get to the Super Bowl. And so, I just knew I had the confidence that Earl would do it.
I'm just happy to be here, really. 13 years, 13 is supposed to be unlucky, but this has been the luckiest for me, I can say that.
Earl Morrall was the old school. I mean, back when we had dirt and you could draw on the ground, I think Earl drew a lot of his plays. He made up game plan changes right there in the huddle. And I think Earl had a more let's talk about it kind of approach and come up with something. And he would talk to the offensive lineman. Not that Bob Greasy didn't, but Greasy was always caught up in an escalated game of chess in his head. You could see him thinking 2 or 3 plays ahead, where Earl Morrall was just trying to get the 3 yards we needed right now, and he wasn't really looking to set anything up. He was working on now.
He had confidence in his own ability to make the play, and then he gave the rest of the offense that confidence that he was going to somehow make the play to help us get the first down or get the touchdown. And that developed in Baltimore over a period of time, and then it just continued in Miami when he took over for Bob Greasy.
He ran into that huddle, and we're all wide-eyed looking at him because, they just carried Greasy out. He looked at us and said, "Well, what do you think?" And I remember saying to him, "Earl, it doesn't matter what I think. What's important here is what do you think?" We're in a hell of a fix here, buddy. You got any ideas?
Earl's greatest strength as a quarterback was being able to execute under pressure.
Never heard one negative word uttered by Earl Morrall about that decision. He stepped in from game 5 all the way to the last playoff game before the Super Bowl and carried that team, and then stepped out of the way and said, "That's what they paid me for." He was a backup quarterback, happy to be there, happy to do his thing, and then he stepped right back. Not many people have that kind of class.